with the cocoa.
I love it.
I like to drink it so slow. The store is where I bought it. It's 100% chocolate.
Oh, hi everyone, Kothany Kotano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new ASAP Ferg mixtape, Ferg Forever. ASAP Ferg is a New York rapper and a completely unexpected rising star within the ASAP mob, an East Coast hip-hop outfit led by rapper A$AP Rocky, whose career totally took off after the release of singles that would later land on his Live Love ASAP mixtape, which I reviewed very positively. But one of my least favorite tracks on this tape was the song that ASAP Ferg appeared on, and it was my least favorite song on the tape because of his appearance. He turned in what was easily the worst feature on the entire project. So, of course, not being able to escape the irony of my own opinion, A$AP Ferg would be the first member of the ASAP mob outside of A$AP Rocky to drop a solo project after the popularity rise of the ASAP mob. And not only would A$AP Ferg be the first to drop a project after A$AP Rocky, but I liked it. There was great production on Trap Lord. And even though A$AP Ferg had some terrible tracks on this thing, and he's not really a serious lyricist, I do find his rhymes entertaining. I think he has flow. I think he has a lot of versatility. He has a sense of humor and personality, which is more than I can say for many rappers out there right now. For sure, singles like Work and Shaba may be dumb, infectious fun, but there's also something kind of creative and weird and playful about these songs too. Now, after the release of Trap Lord, Ferg came through in the next year with a rush of features on a load of different albums. Artists like Subtract and the new Ariana Grande LP. He appeared on a Haim remix as well as in the new Chromeo music video. He did a track with Big Crit, Onyx. Now, this coming year, it seems like Ferg is going to be amping up for another album cycle, and he's teasing toward that album cycle with the release of a new DJ Drama hosted GANGSTA GRILLZ mixtape, Ferg Forever. Now, if you've heard A$AP Ferg's music, and I recommend that you try it, you know he's on some weird shit. And with Ferg Forever, I'm kind of wondering and slightly worried how weird Ferg is going to get with even less pressure to turn in a commercial project. There are 19 tracks on this thing, and in the runtime there are bangers, there are oddities, there are duds, and there are some meaningful moments too. Personally, I wasn't that hyped on the singles leading up to this project. We had This Side with YG, whose feature on that track was just totally throwaway, and the hook on this thing was kind of boring as well. The only saving grace of the song was Ferg's kind of schizophrenic, two-faced flow and the theme of the track, which was gang violence and sort of growing up around that. And the song doe-active, which found Ferg on top of an electro-trap fusion instrumental, but the lyrics make absolutely no sense. They're completely incoherent, which Ferg readily admits in the lyrics themselves. I do like his energetic flow, and the instrumental does bang, but it's just not the kind of flavor I look for in a Ferg track. However, the very next track on this LP, which is segued into by doe-active, Dope Walk, is produced by the same producer, and I think it's a better track, mostly because of it being the weirdest thing I've heard on a rap record this year. There are these weird, noisy, sped up rhythms that just cut into the track suddenly that just feel like they're straight out of an Atari Teenage Riot record. A$AP Ferg is reaching like old dirty bastard levels of insanity on these two tracks. This project features a pretty diverse array of producers. We have Big Crit, Clams Casino, Mike Will, among many others. And we get a series of beats that are eerie and sort of dark and reverbed and trap flavored, like many instrumentals off of Trap Lord. Then other tracks just feel like underground club hits. There's a dancehall flavored track. It's nice to hear that Ferg isn't completely abandoning that genre outside of Shaba. His love for this genre isn't just a one-night stand. Of course, with Crit in the mix, there are some southern hip-hop flavored tracks, some cloud rap on here as well. And there's a pretty impressive feature list too. YG, like I said earlier, whose feature I don't care for, but his name is going to grab eyes. We also have MIA on here, ASAP Nast, SZA, Twista, Tina Shea, as well as underground rapper Marty Baller and rapper, songwriter, producer Crystal Caines, who is all over this project. Now, this tape has a pretty inconspicuous start with the song Perfume. It's a hard-hitting instrumental, but a recycled flow and some recycled lyrics and references that we've already heard on Trap Lord. It's kind of like a bit of a musical chop suey. But then the tape really bounces back with the track Jungle, which features a hard-hitting, massive beat, just huge sub bass, and Ferg comes through with those schizophrenic flows, giving the impression that he's not just one, but 2, 3, 4, 5 different rappers. It's a visceral song, it's kind of catchy, not really a game changer or anything like that, but decent for a piece of mixtape music. But then we get FERGSOMNIA, favorite track on the tape. Weird, squeaky synth loop going over and over and over. Ferg goes insane. A natural high. A familiar flow, but a new level of energy. And Chuchesta's feature on this thing is killer. I wouldn't say there's anything incredibly deep or sort of different or new from Ferg lyrically on this track, though he does continue to be a funny, sort of entertaining personality. But then on the song BONNOROO, he gets kind of serious and introspective and reflective, though I'm not really that big of a fan usually of tour tracks, performance songs. This one is pretty good. It's got a decent beat from Big Crit, which feels like a sort of slightly revised version of an instrumental I'm already very familiar with from him. Ferg brings a pretty relaxed flow and proves that he can spin a narrative just like any other rapper can, and he tells a pretty vivid story of his performance at Bonnaroo, referencing songs that he thinks are fantastic, referencing artists that he looks up to. And it's pretty compelling, even if it is just an account of a performance. And then with the song Uncle, fantastic track. It features a Clams Casino beat that samples Bjork's pagan poetry, and it's got a pretty moving story, even if some of Ferg's lyrics on this track are kind of crude, as he describes this very toxic relationship he has with his uncle. And there are some other tracks on here as well that dive deep into personal problems and narratives like commitment issues, as well as Thug Cry, and the song This Side too, even if I do think the YG feature and the hook on that track are pretty weak. And the closing track too, Talk It, which does have one of the weaker flows on the entire mixtape, but Ferg does try to do his best to give his feelings on the whole Ferguson thing going on right now. There are a few middle-of-the-road tracks in the track listing here, kind of like the song Now or the track Weaves, which has a pretty hefty reference to Back That Ass Up. My favorite parts on this tape are when the tape is going overboard, like I said earlier, like on the song Reloaded, which is kind of a revision of one of my favorite tracks off Trap Lord, Let It Go. But the whole tape gets completely ridiculous on the last few tracks, especially with the Ja Rule track with Big Sean. Don't care for that Big Sean feature. You already know how I feel about Big Sean. Blah. But it's almost like they're kind of breaking Ja Rule's balls a little bit on this track. I can't completely put my finger on it, but just the way the hook is sung, it just seems really comedic and silly. And I feel like on this track, more than any other track on this mixtape, Ferg's crush on Little B is very much showing. And as obvious as that is, I do like the fact that we do have a commercial artist out there who is very much indebted and very much a fan of the bass god. And the song Real Thing with SZA. Horrible singing on this track. It is a love song, but like Little B, for its amateurish feel, there is something kind of endearing about it too. And the beat is like Chromeo and Little Dragon collaborating and then sort of traveling back to the 80s. Overall, I really liked this tape. Although I can't say I came into it really expecting a whole lot. To me, this project was a taster. It was a taste of what is to come. And it's definitely a good taste. It's not blowing my mind. It's not, sort of making me rethink Ferg or anything like that. I guess if I was worried about anything going into Ferg's next record, I was thinking, man, is he going to continue to be weird? Is he going to continue to be out there and kind of push that insanity? And this tape was basically confirmation that he is. In a genre where people are constantly portraying themselves as confident, Ferg seems to be one of the few MCs out there right now who is not self-conscious. And that is what I think continues to make him one of the most exciting new faces in hip-hop right now. I'm feeling a light to decent 7 on this thing. Tran,